right, well, the NASCAR Chat Series continues to roll on. Cal Naughton Jr. and Will Power are your front row. Pace car is to the pit lane, and the Firekeepers Casino 400 at Michigan will get underway.
Green, green, green.
Well, Cal Naughton Jr., who barely got nudged out of the pole position by Will Power, barely edges out Power to lead lap 1. These cars, yet again, continue to look like they are just all over the place. And, I mean, their smoothness is upped for this race. We've been running them at 75, primarily for a good bit here. Up to 80 for this race, and I was flirting with even more, but... you know, we like some unpredictability. All right, Naughton was on pole. That's right. Well, I screwed that up. Will Power was the one that just barely got bumped there at the very end. Cal Naughton. How quickly one can forget. Cal Naughton Jr. out to about a 0.4 of a second lead. This is kind of how these races tend to go. At least if you look back at the Coca-Cola 600, where... the non-chat cars do kind of own the early stages of the race. I mean, in terms of chatters in the top 10, we got Ash, who just moved up a couple spots. What in the hell happened back there? Just picked up 2 spots at once, up to 5th. We got Squid in 8th, and that's it. Pete Dollarsign did just move into the top 10. And now, mercifully for us... 4 laps in, I spoke too soon. Tony Stewart has crashed somewhere on the racetrack, and 4 laps in, the yellow flag's gonna come out. Watching Tony Stewart into turn 3, he really kind of, I don't know if it's safe to say he did it to himself. Tried to get up high and then was really fighting it up on the top of the racetrack. Caleb was right underneath him, and they kind of just collided. So on board with Tony Stewart, entering turn 3 there. I mean, Stewart was out of shape. There's no real doubt about that. But I think it's safe to say that Caleb came up a little bit. Well, no pit stops under our early yellow flag. We'll come back to green to take lap 8. Pretty much as we started in terms of the front row. Cal Naughton Jr. and Will Power will lead the field back to green. Into the restart zone. They wait till the tail end of it, but we're back under green again. Well, we'll see how long we make it under green this next time. I only think I'm going to throw yellow flags when I get a notification that somebody has crashed, not that somebody has had a problem. If you can make it back to the pit lane, think we're good to not throw the yellow flag. Pit window, my guess, is actually kind of just before the stage break. I don't really know for sure. I haven't gotten the notification that Tony Stewart ever made it back to the pit lane at all. So we'll see what happens with that as this race continues. Will Power from Cal Naughton Jr. and Ricky Bobby. And I think a slingshot might have just been engaged. However, it's not, and Ricky Bobby might have got a piece of the wall up there. Ash trying to force it 3 wide and behind as Rowdy Burns has taken the lead after a chaotic turn 4. Greg Biffle has gone off the track. Let's see what's going on with the Biff. I think he just phased back into the pit lane. Not sure what's going on there, but back up into the top 10. Didn't even have a chance to throw a yellow while he was on the track. Rowdy Burns from Rick Mast. Oh my goodness, look at the front of the field! This is wild out in here. The super speedway type stuff. Look at all the cars up front. Nobody trying to break away. Nobody can. At the Troy Lions car on the high side, Caleb might have caught a piece of the wall up there. Oh, Ash. Oh, my goodness. Squeezed in between Naughton and Power. Hell, I think being back in 18th might be a safer place to be right now. Lead change. Rick Mast takes the top spot for the first time today. 38-second laps here, so we can, get through 200 relatively quickly if we're going to have some long green flag runs. This is just wild. Evo, I saw very briefly back there. Looks like he's trying to rip the top, kind of like Kyle Larson. At least up until he catches up to the rest of all this chaos. Tell you who's loving what he's seeing, that's Rick Mast in a 14. Already a 6/10 of a second lead as everybody is just too wide. Maybe 10 cars back, I'm not really sure. Bobby and Montoya side by side for second place. But it is not getting any clearer up in here. I mean, we're 3 wide back there. We're 4 wide now. Rowdy Burns nearly into the wall. This can't work. This just can't work forever. Rick Mast can do whatever he wants to do. What we need to be taking a look at is right here. And I mean, of course, for the points implications, I mean, there's a good chunk of chatters in this pack. Ash, Pat, myself, Squid's in there. Jordo's just behind it. Evo's trying to join the party. Lucas is up here. As nobody can get free. Pat gonna force it 3 wide. Montoya was up near the wall again. Oh my goodness, so many lane changes. Everybody's racy today. There is at least the start of a breakaway from this group. Evo's going to be flirting with top 10 if he's going to continue to move forward. Pat up into 5th, Ash in 4th. Rusty Wallace in 3rd. Sterling Marlin has broken somewhat free. Oh, Rowdy Burns big time loose. I mean, this just can't last forever. Oh, there was a bit of contact between Evo and Ricky Bobby. Looks like everybody's going to make it out of there okay. But that's what I'm talking about. We're racing around the track just 4 wide at all times. This can't last forever. Oh, sounded like some issues behind. Somebody dropping down through the running order. We haven't gotten a notification of a crash yet. It was Rowdy Burns. And Rowdy Burns coming to a crawl on the front stretch. And there it is. The yellow flag will come out for the 51. Back to the replay. Haley Deegan alongside. And, I mean, really, oh, wow. Hard hit. Phased into the wall. Really kind of similar crash from what we saw with Tony Stewart and Caleb. Gundy came flying through there. Just about annihilated the 51. Juan Pablo Montoya and Rowdy Burns collide. So now on board with Rowdy Burns. And, oh yeah. I mean, again, Burns is certainly not exactly holding his line, but you can definitely tell that Montoya comes up. And look at how close that was with Gundy to purple and pink 48. Heading back to green to take lap 20 of the Firekeepers Casino 400. A change in the front row. It is Rick Mast and Sterling Marlin. Sterling Marlin up 25 places from the start of this thing. Well, Rick Mast got way out of shape in turn 3. Sterling Marlin will blow the field away by 0.3 of a second. Our first lap back under green. And look at who's all the way up in the front of this field. Sitting third as things stand in a scheme that's won here. And a scheme very important to myself and any other Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan. That is that Batman, I think it was Dark Knight Rises, the Diet Mountain Dew car. Broke a long winless drought in that scheme, so out it comes, and that was here at Michigan. So not a surprise to see the 88 up here. Battling with Rusty Wallace for second spot. Rick Mast trying to join that party. Your top chatter for the moment is Ash, Pat on the inside, Aiden actually right in behind. Oh, that was close. Oh, it's still close! Ash lose contact with Pat. Is everybody going to be okay? Ash slow for the moment. I'm not seeing any damage. Doesn't mean there isn't any. Fence kind of gets in our way. I think the car is going to be fine, but you can tell, I mean, Ash stayed out on the older tires, and I think we're seeing the side effects of that right now. I feel like every car that did stay out should be struggling, but you got Sterling Marlin and Rick Mast. I mean, they're fine. They're actually pulling away from the rest of the field. And then it's third on back where it gets dicey. Ash appears to be okay, kind of right back in there behind Pat again. Rowdy Burns, Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart out of this race, never went back to the pit lane. Towed it straight back to the garage, which is unusual, you know, primarily. You'll see guys fix the cars at least a little bit. Haven't seen that yet here in this one. Dale Jr. is kind of broken away. Rusty Wallace still trying to fight off Homestead winner Travis Pastrana in the 60. And with the pit strategy changes, I mean, the whole field is just kind of flipped right now. Rick Mast more or less where he started. Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr. up 26 places from the start of this thing. Travis Pastrana's up 20. Your biggest loser for the moment, at least on track, is Juan Pablo Montoya back last on track. Well, the good news is that we've kind of settled down a little bit in the mid-pack. Ash trying to run that high side. It's probably one of the safer places to be, even though we have seen 2 incidents from that spot, and now Ash is right in behind Pat again. This is a battle we'll want to take a look at. Oh, don't do it. Nearly had that same problem. Jordo's trying to force it 4 wide again. I thought we were out of the woods with this craziness in the back of the pack. No. Red Wings came down the pit lane. I wonder if we can figure out a reason why. I don't see any damage on that car. As a little bit, but I wouldn't think enough to pit necessarily for the 71, so an interesting call. Doesn't look all that bad, but it doesn't mean it isn't that bad. I guess time will tell. We'll see how long Red Wings is in the pits. Sterling Marlin, your leader here on lap 27. 19 to go in this first stage, the shortest stage of this Michigan race. Let's see if we have a little bit of time to actually get through the field. Take a look at everybody out here today, and hopefully there are no issues while we do this. Last on track currently with Red Wings in the pit lane is El Jefe. Been close a couple times as of late to winning Chat Series races, both at Indy and up front late at the Coke 600. Indianapolis 500 winner in Smee. And a very bright prime car here this time. Austin, back of the pack, as he often loves to be. That car doesn't really look all that great on the right front either. Oh, Jesus, what a move by Jeff. Got Will Power out here on track. We brought it up in qualifying. The numbers on that car will look a little bit better going forward. That was a late change here for this race. Dollar Sign, his third race in the 45. Squid just got passed by Dollar Sign, but in the familiar Austin 316, as Ashes entered the pit lane with some right front damage. I kinda had a feeling we weren't gonna get through the field without that, so that's not ideal, but at the very least, back to the pit lanes. The race isn't over. It's just not looking all that great. Maybe someday we'll get through that without an issue. Sterling Marlin leads by about a second over Rick Mast and the Silver Bullet. From Dale Earnhardt Jr. on back is where I think it's going to get a bit interesting. Although we have stretched out just a little bit. Not so much back here. As we'll take a look at this group again. Jesus Christ. 80 smoothness on all of these cars, and they are all over the racetrack. Yeah, nobody wants to be here. Evo's doing the smart thing and trying to get out of this. Sad part is we're going to get it all figured out, and then that's when we're going to have a stage break here in about 15 laps. It's a hell of a disappointment for Ash, though, too. I mean, had just gotten kind of back into the points battle after a couple of good results. This is certainly not looking like it's going to be one of them. Red Wings lost 4 laps coming down the pit lane. And I will say, I think Red Wings' damage looked a little bit less than Ash's did. So we'll see when Ash comes back out of the pit lane, but... Although with the amount of chaos that we've seen early in this race, who the hell knows? You could still finish mid-pack at this rate. Well, we haven't done a lap on board yet. I guess no better than to do an onboard with me next time by. And hope that we don't see any chaos. That was Oscar Piastri, way out of shape, out of turn 2. 81 car in his NASCAR Chat Series debut. This McFarland to the bottom got in his way, as we will indeed go on board for a lap around Michigan International Speedway. Just absolutely all over the place. See how many times my driver had to lift through the corners. I mean, none of this is ideal. And there's not much smoother they can be on the wheel. Myself and Travis Pastrana, that got close. Aiden joined I think during the All-Star race. We haven't seen him since. It's him and the number 5 Kyle Larson car right in front. Piastri. I don't know if there was contact there or what that was. 81 was way sideways there for a moment. My goodness. Just to check in on your leader, Sterling Marlin has now stretched that lead to almost 2 seconds over Rick Mast, and I could not tell you how. He is actually, come to look at it, the top 4 have not pitted yet. So that has worked out a lot better than expected. 18 laps on the tires, more than the rest of the field. Now, I mean, we did have 2 cautions in that span, but wow, that's a big surprise. Now, Sterling is getting reeled in by Rick Mast just a little bit. Yes, Evo was one of the ones that pitted on lap 17. Unfortunately for Ash, she is still in the pit lane, has been. Oh, wait, nope. Ash has finally left the pit stop, or left the pit lane after a 4.5-minute pit stop. 7 laps is the damage. So not exactly ideal. So Rick Mast continues to close in. Your highest placing chatter for the moment is indeed Evo. And I know early in a race, this doesn't happen very often. 24, back in its familiar colors for this race. Actually, no, it ran the same scheme at the Coke 600. It is a short race, and it's certainly a short first stage. Now, mercifully, the green flag runs have gotten a bit longer, although there have been some incidents in both green flag runs that I suppose you could have called a caution for. Pat trying to make a move here late. And Pat's another one. Make that the top 5 that stayed out under our second yellow flag are all still there. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. Ash was in that top 5 and dropped out of it, but there were cars from back in the pack that had stayed out as well. But I mean, that's primarily working. Natalie Decker has not pitted yet in this race. She's back in 27th, the worst of the ones who have not made a pit stop. You gotta think they know they can make it to the end of the stage, right? But are we starting to see some fall off? Now, Evo's a good ways behind Sterling Marlin here. Evo's about 6 seconds back of Sterling, but Sterling is certainly getting caught by Rick Mast and Rusty Wallace right in tow. So the race for the stage could get a bit interesting. And right now, I mean, you got Aiden inside the top 10 who's not running for points, missing the first 4 races. I mean, we keep track of his points, but still. Then you got Evo and Pat. Yo Gamer is, yeah, of course Yo Gamer's at the stage points here late. Oh, man. That car has just been crazy. That's your points leader, currently sitting in 10th at the 56. Just drop back out of it. But we certainly have a race for the stage on our hands. Evo's not making up a lot of ground, though. So Sterling has just fallen off. And Rick Mast, speaking of falling off, so did Rick Mast. Just dropped from about 0.3 of a second back to, all of a sudden, nowhere close. So here with 5 to go in stage number 1, we got a beer battle on our hands. Coors Light and Miller Lite pacing the field. You know, in my stupidity as a child watching NASCAR, you know, I always thought it would have been a great idea to get all the beer cars on track together and fight for beer supremacy. Get the Coors, get the Miller Lite car, get the Budweiser car out there, and let them go. 3-car race. How exciting that would have been. Admittedly, a dumb idea. Oh, nearly contact for the lead here. Let's take a look. Oh, Smee has damage. I had wondered. Smee down the pit lane. Not bad, but he's probably going to lose some laps there. New leader, Rusty Wallace. As this first stage is winding down. I don't think Sterling's out of this yet, though. He's kind of hanging on. And, I mean, don't count out Rick Mast, either. That car going to get to run by itself here for a little bit. Might catch up to the front, too. Make this interesting. Chat stage points. Evo sits 5th. Aiden in 6th. Pat is now dropped to 8th. Yo Gamer is back inside the top 10. We had a momentary change for the lead. We're side by side. Rusty Wallace and Sterling Marlin, which is all Rick Mast is going to want to see. That lap led by Sterling. Pits are closed. With 2 to go on the stage, and Rick Mast is here. Sterling a bit out of shape. Now, you know these cars are going to have to come down pit road. I would honestly assume that everybody is going to want to come down pit road, but I guess we shall see as Sterling Marlin tries to hang on. Come around to take the white flag in stage 1. Rusty Wallace getting a run again. Try to go around the high side. Nah, it's not working. Sterling's going to run him up there. Sterling Marlin wants the stage win. However, Rusty Wallace to the top spot. And that slide job, if you will, has worked. How about in his NASCAR Chat Series debut, by the way, first stage, Cletus McFarland in 10th. Up to 9th, just made a move on Pat. Through 3 and 4 for the final time in stage 1, it appears that it will be Rusty Wallace. Not his first time in the series, but it will be the Blue Deuce's first stage win of the year. We'll get final results for the stage here in a few seconds as that yellow flag does indeed come out. So the top 10 after stage 1, Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, Rick Mast, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Oscar Piastri, Cal Naughton Jr. back out in the top 10 out of nowhere. Evo, your highest point gathering chatter of the stage. Aiden right in behind. Cletus McFarland in 9th. Haley Deegan in 10th. Those are your stage 1 results. All right, well, as we go green for stage number 2, let's try something we haven't done before and see how it works. I don't know if it's going to be great at a track like Michigan. NASCAR and Fox just ended, but I suppose it's time to crank it up. Well, I don't know how much that worked or not. It's way better than when I get the static TV cam. It's not available at all tracks, but it was worth a shot. We'll break that back out when time allows. But somehow it appears we got through that little segment without any issues with any cars, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the mix for all that is now your leader. From Cal Naughton Jr., who was your leader after the Stage 1 break. Sterling Marlin, Rusty Wallace still up here after pit stops. You know, the fresher tires didn't work out for the guys in Stage number 1, but so far, here in Stage 2, I mean, it's working out. Your top 3 pitted under the stage break. So Earnhardt, Wallace, and Marlin. And then 4th, 5th, 6th, all pitted on lap 17. Myself, Cletus McFarland, and Cal Naughton Jr. Some hard tires. If only there were tire options in NASCAR here. Yeah, Evo. Well, I see why things aren't working out so well for Evo. He's in another one of these damn hornet's nests that we really should be paying some close attention to. A little bit of a checkup there. No massive damage for anybody, but that wasn't ideal. I say that perhaps a bit too soon. Oscar Piastri down the back straightaway now. Can the 81 get back to the pit lane? That's all we'll need to see, or will this car just park it on the apron? That'll determine whether the yellow flag will come out. Try and get a different view. I mean, it certainly doesn't look bad, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Into the grass a little bit. Piastri will make it back to the pits. There is some decent right side damage that we weren't able to see with the fence in the way. Well, not a good NASCAR Chat Series debut for Oscar Piastri. So we're back up front with Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got a half-second lead over Rusty Wallace. Your current top chatter is, well, unfortunately me. Fresh off a Coca-Cola 600 win. That still shocks me. My cars have never done anything good in a decent, in a big moment. Not the highest placing chatter anymore. It's that new addition in Aiden. For the first time rocking the classic, if you will, Kyle Larson scheme, even though it's not a classic Kyle Larson scheme. It's a classic Hendrick scheme, but I digress. But then we head back as we have problems on the racetrack somewhere. Yellow flag will come out as we have problems with El Jefe on the back straightaway. Well, we head up to the blimp to see what happens to the 55 entering turn 1 here. There's some chaos in front of him. Oh, side-by-side contact. I think that's Natalie Decker. And the 55 hard in the wall. But that's really the first time we've seen two cars in kind of the middle lanes of the racetrack come together and have issues. We don't often go to chase cam, but I just kind of want to see what happened here. Oh! So you see what the issue was. It looked like Natalie Decker went low, tried to make a pass. Jeff, I don't know if he came down to block or what it was. Maybe we'll get a little bit more clarity on board with Natalie Decker. On board with the 21 of Natalie Decker, the move to the inside, and I don't know if Jeff got loose or tried to come down and block or what it was, but yeah, that's what it was. The 21's there, and 55 came down anyway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Rusty Wallace will lead the field back to green to take lap 61 in the Firekeepers Casino 400 with 60 to go in this second stage. Stage is 45. What? 80 and 80? Is that what we got here? That real short first stage. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has gotten away again. Sterling Marlin, Rusty Wallace. Up front much of this race. As I say, we're kind of nearing the halfway point, but not exactly. Still a good chunk of the first half of this race left to go. Chance for plenty more stupid things to happen, of which we've had a few already. Unfortunate part for Jeff right now is that he is listed as out. And for a car that was already last and last by a good margin in the points, that's not going to be great for El Jefe. Yet another pretty bad result, and even worse because there aren't any chatters that are down there with him. He is the only one that is going to be out of this race for the moment. My car is pitting. Now I'm not seeing any damage here. That's a choice. That is certainly a choice. Especially right after a yellow flag like that. Like, what was the point? Piastri is also in the pit lane. I think he's still here. I don't know. I'm not really certain if he ever came out. He might still be trying to fix that damage from early. Yeah, because he took some weird damage, too. Don't usually see it on the right side. The incidents primarily that we've seen, it's pretty much a right front impact. But, that familiar. Dark Knight Rises 88, pacing the field. Hey, Oscar Piastri has finally left the pit lane. And yeah, that was an 8-minute pit stop. Oof. Well, here on lap 65, your top 10 for the moment reads Dale Earnhardt Jr., Sterling Marlin, Laba Lucas up to third, kind of out of nowhere, very quietly. Hayden looking for his best finish in the NASCAR Chat Series and only his second result. Rick Mast, Rusty Wallace. Gundy up inside the top 10. That could be a big points day. D. Kuzmic sits 8th, followed by Will Power, and then Natalie Decker, who, after the pit stops, I don't know if she stayed out or what the case was, but was back there in the 20s when the incident with Jeff happened. Yeah, I do want to take a look at that. Piastri 9 laps down. Jeff's still showing us out, so his day is done. It'll be a 30th place effort for the 55. I mean, we are actually closing in on. If this result holds for Aiden, and he's able to really rack up some stage points here in stage 2, Aiden might be closing in on more points than Jeff. I want to say it was like a 17-point outing in that first race. We might have to add Aiden to the points graphic after this, which is a lot more work than I want to do, but we might not have much of a choice if El Jefe continues to do what he's been doing. My God. Hate it for the man. Well, I mean, we know what the issue is with El Jefe. I mean, let's be honest. He drives a Ferrari scheme. Yeah, Cal Naughton has just entered the pit lane. Let's, of course, do a check, see if we have anything of note here on Cal Naughton. Can never be too safe here. Don't see any damage on the 47. Looks like a scheduled pit stop. And back out. So a couple of cars now, myself and Cal Naughton with some odd choices of pit stops. And I mean, for those cars, I mean, Pat's also a lap down now. He was another one of those. I think that we must have missed. That has made a green flag stop here. I don't get it. We had a caution like 3 laps prior. But when we get the stupid calls generally, in terms of pit strategy, those do oddly end up working. So if we see myself, Cal Naughton Jr., and Pat up front late, I guess we aren't going to be totally surprised. It's a bit early for like a race-winning call, though. And you really kind of got to be stuck to that strategy. Exactly. We got any chaos out here on the racetrack? Oh, yeah. I mean, we still got some big groups here together. Evo riding back, just sitting and watching it unfold in front of him. Although it's not the biggest pack we've seen. The 24 might be trying to get a little racy. Might be trying to make some moves here on lap 71. Peaches is good. Seems to be adjusting quite well. She, when she first got there, you know, you kind of had to go find her and then be close to her. And then she'd kind of interact with you. Now, she will find you. It's the sweetest cat. I took a video of Peaches today. I was going to post it in the Discord. Peaches update for everybody. We need a Peaches cam that I can show on stream, but I don't know how I'm going to facilitate that. We are trying to settle in. The Firekeepers Casino 400. Go a little bit farther up the field. There's the crazy battle. Although this is tame compared to what we've had at various times. The result this would be for Gundy as well. I mean, very down there in terms of the points and really just got off to that terrible start. Won the Bud Shootout, did the 48 at Daytona, and then I believe it was a lap 1 incident for the Ally 48 in the Daytona 500, and it's just been an uphill battle ever since. You know, you earn 1 point in your season opening race, that's going to be tough to rebound from. 48 is trying to do that. As difficult as it will be. Made up a couple places. Up until recently, Austin is coming off an okay run. I believe Austin's 2 places from where he wants to be in DFL. I think Gundy and Jeff are stuck in behind. Let's check in on your points leader. Back in, oh man, there's the real Hornet's Nest. The 56, way back in traffic. A car that, up until the Coca-Cola 600, with its 4 stages, 3 of which will give stage points. A car that had finished in the top 10 in every stage in the 56. But then, even though it didn't earn any stage points at Charlotte, still had a pretty decent result. Just kind of got crowded there by Cletus McFarland in the 30 that does have some right front damage. But I mean, this is just chaotic. I mean, we're battling for last on track here, at least last on the lead lap. And they were 4 wide out of turn 2 as now McFarland just cut off the 47 of Cal Naughton. There's also damage on the front to the splitter of the 43. Kind of bent up in the air, but we saw that happen to Bobby Labonte at the Coca-Cola 600, and he actually won a stage like that, so 43 might just need to be in the right place at the right time. Maybe it'll just work out. Oh, Smee! Problems in behind! Oh my goodness, I think he kept it straight. All right, none of us like Smee. That was one hell of a save back there. Out of turn 2. Will that car be coming down the pit lane? No, Smee's just going to dig deep, try and go at it again. Good Lord. Well, your Indianapolis 500 winner. Holy shit, showing off some good good driving skill on that one. To the front of the field, and it appears that we're about to have a battle for the lead again. Sterling Marlin has certainly closed in on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Three-tenths of a second back, and then all the way back to third is just about 5 seconds. And speaking of that, let's take a look at this, because this looks tight. Not as tight as I was thinking. Single file there for the first three is D. Kuzmic trying to make a move. Lucas got loose. Look at the move that Aiden just made. Right through the middle of Rusty Wallace and Ricky Bobby. What a move for sixth. Seeing a pretty good showing of driving right now, I'll tell you that. Well, if we can stay green, which is seeming impossible due to some of the moves that are being made out here on track, I think we're getting pretty close to figuring out just how long, roughly, a pit cycle is here. Your top four pitted on lap 47. There's a good chunk of cars kind of scattered throughout the field that pitted on lap 47. Sit on lap 79 right now, and I don't think the fuel run's going to be that much more. Back up to the front of the field, Sterling Marlin, setting his sights on Dale Earnhardt Jr. But he hasn't really gotten a lot closer than this. 0.3 of a second, 0.2 of a second. It's just about all that the 40's been able to muster so far. One of my favorite NASCAR seasons. Actually, when you think about it, 2002, when Sterling Marlin, Dale Jr. loose, Sterling Marlin going for the lead, just barely avoiding contact there. They're still trying to avoid contact. But Sterling Marlin, who was never really all that remarkable, just had an absolutely crazy season. Started in the Daytona 500, was leading late, and decided to get out of his car under a red flag and try to pull out his fender, which of course is something you cannot do. And then a boneheaded move like that was actually followed by a pretty solid season, was leading the points when he got hurt late in the year. Oh, close again. Oh, Marlin way loose. There was definitely some contact that time. Dale Earnhardt Jr. fighting it off. 39 laps to go here in stage 2. Gotta wonder if there's any residual damage on either of those two cars. If they hit, they did not hit hard. And that's certainly not gonna be good for Marlin. He's already got as many laps as he does on the tires. A slide like that can't be good for anybody. We still have not seen a move made to the pit lane, but you gotta think that these cars here are gonna be some of the first to go. Rusty Wallace has gone off track, I see. Where's Rusty? Oh, stopped on the racetrack. Yellow flag will come out. Checking in on what happened to your stage 1 winner, the Blue Deuce. And D. Kuzmic out of turn 2, sent him right up into the wall. Again, we'll get a little bit closer here this next time and see, whose fault this really was. That's a pretty hard hit for the number 2. So here it is. Wallace gets loose. That look didn't really tell us much of anything, but man, that was a hard hit. Oh, look at the right side of that car. Oh, there is just no way that the 2 continues. No wonder he stopped on the racetrack. That right side's just opened up, kind of like a beer can somebody just shotgunned. We'll go into chase cam just to get our definitive answer, and it's a little bit of both, to be honest. D. Kuzmic definitely comes up But the 2 also kind of gets loose, comes down a little bit. And look at just the carnage on the right side of that car. It's like it got stuck in there. And one final look on board. See D. Kuzmic kind of get the edge here. And then they come together. Bang. Not quite head on, but might as well have been. Ricky Bobby and Sterling Marlin lead the field back to green to take lap 87. Ricky Bobby, a nice sequence in the pits. Jumped Dale Jr. and Marlin. Oh, interesting development. Oh, no. Oh, there are multiple cars involved at the back of the field. Evo is one of them. Evo, Smee, Ash, Pat, myself, and Redwigs all crashed there. Oh, my goodness. What happened here? Squid to the outside of Evo, and Evo tried to clear himself. And then just got T-boned by Will Power. Car tried to flip up and over. Now, most of the cars involved aren't involved that badly. Evo, he certainly hit the wall hard. Well, here we go again. This is out of turn 4. And there it is. You see, Evo just not clear. Into the wall. Jordo got a piece of that. Didn't even know that. Will Power hit hard. And then Evo's car tried to climb up and over Smee. Ash with a little bit of damage there. I don't really think that's new. Hard to say. Well, we won't suffer through gyro cam. Here's Evo off 4 into Squid. Oh, hard hit with Will Power. Not T-bone, that was nose to nose. And then the 24 trying to climb all over the 23. I want to see this from Ash's perspective, just to kind of get a clue of just how much Pat, myself, and Ash really got in this whole thing. So there it is, happening up top. Ash did get into Smee a little bit. It's certainly not all that bad, but wow. All the wrecks we had seen today were pretty much the same, and then this one breaks the trend a bit. We are back to green in stage 2. We will take 30 to go in this stage. After the wildest wreck we have seen so far today, Ricky Bobby, your leader, Dale Jr. on the outside as we head down into turn number 1. Well, off the restart, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has taken the lead away again from Ricky Bobby, as this 88 has to be the early favorite for most laps led here today. I mean, it's certainly not going to be a chatter. I mean, we haven't really had many chat cars in the lead here today at Michigan. You're a lap down because you and myself decided to pit under green 2 to 3 laps after a yellow flag. Good news for you is that I don't think your car is dealing with a lot of damage. So there's a race really going on for the first car 1 lap down. Oh, Jesus Christ. And that race currently, let's see, let's wait for this to cycle around again. That race currently being held, or won rather, by Jordo in the 43. But, I mean, this is still just so chaotic back here that, I mean, it's hard to say that we're going to go green for a long time. To put it in perspective as to how long Evo might be in the pit lane here, Ash just passed Evo for position. One of our first real incidents of the day. Ash has been down 7 laps down for a while. I really can't see that getting much better for the 46. But you never know. You never know the chaos that's going to happen ahead. I mean, with the amount of retirements that we've seen in this race so far, anything's possible. Like I said, when it happened, I was like, we might see cars like this finish mid-pack somehow. Smee with damage, but he's back to the pit lane. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is your leader. 0.3 of a second back is Ricky Bobby. Rick Mast, who's been up front all day long, seemingly. Currently sitting in third, just biding his time a little bit. Natalie Decker up front, Travis Pastrana, Juan Pablo Montoya. Oscar Piastri just passed Evo, and Piastri's 9 laps down, so... Some of those cars, 3 or more laps down, I'd say, your best hope is just to hope for a few more retirements and go from there. But I just don't know how much more help you can get. We're 4 laps shy of halfway. 25 to go in stage number 2. And what has certainly been a wild Firekeepers Casino 400. Right, yeah, just stay in the pit lane and hope more cars retire. I don't think going to check on Evo is going to do us much good. We do get to take a little bit of a look at the damage, though, to the best of our ability. So there's no damage on the rear, but that for the front of the car, and I think that's where Will Power hit him. And Will Power, well, I was going to say surprisingly is fine. He really isn't. We got Gundy slow in the apron. There's some damage. Oh my goodness, this car was top 10 and really needed a good run. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, the 48 gonna drop some laps right now. It does appear as well. We got a battle for the lead going on between Dale Jr. and Ricky Bobby. Closing in on halfway. Ash just made up another position there on Smee. Gundy down in 19th place for the moment, but I would assume is going to lose probably 3 or more laps. As we near the halfway point here. Jordo, Pat, Squid, myself just past Gundy for position. 2-wide battle for the lead out of 2. Exit the pit lane before stage 3. I feel like at that point you should just retire the car. Got a long way to go though. And I mean, that was a pretty nasty hit to the front. And Lord knows what happened to the bottom of that car. I mean, I know it's just pretty much all just one piece of carbon fiber, but who knows what else broke that we can't see. With the car kind of bouncing around and trying to flip. Oh, goodness gracious. Red Wings has passed Gundy. Now, Red Wings has had a couple of free passes to kind of get back up into that position. But, man, oh, man, what a disastrous race for the Chatters. Except the only one that doesn't want to do well. Actually, you know what? Credit to Caleb. I mean, he's got some damage on that car. Home race here at MIS. And the 35 is up in decent position. Tell you this, look at the speed of Pat. He's up here with the guys in the top of the field. That car just looks faster. We are officially halfway here at Michigan. Possibly Possibly. And I mean, with the main flip in the points, I mean, is really going to come potentially at the back end. I mean, Caleb's had a decent year. But I mean, Austin's way back down there. I really think, if anything, this is just going to close this points race up even more. That was already tight. I mean, really positions 1 through 9 were kind of within that range where one race certainly could flip it. And I mean, we saw that in the last one. For sure. Now, I don't like the looks of that. Cal Naughton Jr. up right there with Caleb there a little bit. Back up to the front of the field, we will go on board with Ricky Bobby around Michigan International Speedway. We have breaking news out of our in-car cam experience. Evo has left the pit lane. What's the damage? 15 laps down. 28th place. There he is. What a job by the pit crew. I mean, that car got hit. Straight in the nose. By Will Power. But the 24 lives. Here on lap 104. And all by itself, so hopefully able to just run peacefully here for a little bit. So while we were in car with Ricky Bobby, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has made yet another pass for the lead. I can't really check it while the race is going on. I would say that the 88 hasn't locked up most laps led. He could certainly have a problem. And, you know, really tank it from here, but certainly is nearing that sort of pace, which is just another point that will not go to a chatter here. I also can't really check fastest lap. We can kind of, you know, look through them here. Ash did make a pass on Gundy for 24th place. Gundy has still not exited the pit lane. B. Dollarsign actually has just entered the pit lane, and that car has damage as well. This race continues to go absolutely batshit. Aiden with the fastest time. I'd believe it. Car's been up front. Good chunk of the day. Smee has finally left the pit lane after a 7-minute pit stop. After that car was in more trouble yet again. 24th would be a win. And I mean, you know, trouble that early on, it's just recovery. At that point, the rest of the day, earn as many points that you can out of it. Jordo's fastest lap is a 38.62. Aiden has a 38.68. All right. Now, there's another car 15 laps down. I'm going to assume that was Smee. I kind of looked at it right at the very tail end there. The race for the free pass for our next yellow flag. Jordo's currently got that over Pat and myself. Gundy left the pit lane after a 6-minute pit stop. Yeah, it's Evo and Smee with the battle. For 27th place, 15 laps off the pace. So let's take a little bit of a look. I mean, most of the cars that are going to be factors here today, at least for the moment, in the current landscape of this race, we're looking at pit lap 84 for everybody in the top 17. And then 18th and 19th pitted on lap 88. A couple of cars, myself and Pat, pitted on lap 83. Just about everybody is almost on the same pit cycle, at least of the cars that can be a factor today. Fair enough. And you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to say it. 12 to go here in stage number 2, and we're looking to get a little bit racy for the lead again. $Sign's pit stop only 2 minutes 54 seconds. He's not out of the pit lane yet. So the damage minimal for $Sign. Ash will not be able to make up a place with that. Good luck to the non-chatters. I mean, honestly, actually, come to think of it, well, no, Austin's fine. He's just kind of in the mix of all of this. Did drop out of the top 10 into 11th place for the moment. No points. Still time to tank it. Still time to finish in the late 20s. Natalie Decker to the pit lane. Let's take a look. There's some damage. If a car finishes this race without damage, you're probably going to be the winner. I mean, let's be honest at this point. For those cars in the back, I mean, you could hope for just a massive pileup off a restart, kind of like what we saw in Evo's crash, and then that could certainly change some things around. And a day where it looks like you're going to finish, you know, say 24th like Ash, all of a sudden becomes a top 20. And speaking of when it comes to my car, now, I don't remember what our next race is. I think it's Atlanta. Somebody head to my Twitch schedule and maybe check that for me. If our next race is Atlanta, I am not doing the finishing position determines the scheme I get to run in the next race for that one. You're running a scheme that I designed quite some time ago, and it's a throwback, but it's also modern, so. And it can only really run at Atlanta, so that's why I decided just not for that race. Natalie Decker has lost at least one lap. Red Wings, so she's lost at least 2, but she is now out of the pit stall. Natalie will be exiting the pit lane here any second. As Ricky Bobby is your leader late in stage number 2. 8 to go, coming to 7 to go in the stage. We've mellowed out a little bit when it comes to this race, but nothing is for certain. Once we get this field packed back up again, Lord knows. I mean, we got cars scattered all throughout the field with damage, everything, and this race for the stage win is not yet over. Austin trying to salvage some stage points. Look who's 11th. It is Yo Gamer. I don't think, with everybody pitting around lap 83, 84, that we're going to have a need for pit stops before the end of this stage. So we won't have chaos in that regard. But can we get to the end of this stage under green? I do wonder if we're going to see some interesting pit strategy at the stage 2 break. I feel like the run is just short enough that we might see some gamblers stay out under the stage yellow and get to the front of the field. I just can't see it really working out all that well. Ricky Bobby leading here on lap 116. A pole sitter this year was the 26th. That was all the way back at Daytona in the 62 car that won the pole for the Daytona 500, and that's really the most notable thing Ricky Bobby has done in this season. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been a factor at various points, but has not really had a great run. Quite yet. Not like this. And this is one of the rare times all day somebody's been able to get around the 88 and kind of have it stay there. We'll check back on this lead group in a moment, but another car that I would say we have to worry about is the 60 and Travis Pastrana. Now, it's not like the Homestead race where the 60 punted a couple cars that may have been some factors in that race and eventually wound up winning. The 60 has had a relatively incident-free day. But up here running. What? I almost spoke that into existence. Contact Pastrana and Marlin for 4th place. At least I believe there was contact. As we will head back, Ricky Bobby is slow on the apron. And I'm not even really seeing any damage. Has the 26 ran it out of gas. No rear damage. Oh, there is some front damage on the 26. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with about a 2.5 second lead, closing down the laps here in stage 2. That race for the lead proved costly. Now, the damage does not look all that bad, and maybe Ricky Bobby will be helped out ever so slightly with this yellow flag that's about to come in a little over a lap's time, but oh man. Right when we were talking about, hasn't done anything notable since winning the pole of the Daytona 500. Ricky Bobby and Dale Earnhardt Jr. presumably collide. Coming around to take the final lap of stage number 2. Dale Earnhardt Jr. can coast to the stage victory now. And I mean, again, a scheme that, you know, has a lot of history at Michigan, especially for Junior Nation out there running it here. It only makes sense that this car's been up front a good chunk of the day. Let's head back, see if there's a battle for the free pass as Dale Earnhardt Jr. will win stage number 2. That honor currently belongs to the 43. I do not see Squid in the picture. We'll wait for the stage yellow to come across to make it official, but I think the 43 is going to get back on the lead lap here. Still no stage yellow. There it is. Stage results are final. The 43 is going to get back on the lead lap, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. will win stage 2 here at Michigan. As we'll run through the rest of the top 10. Rick Mast in 2nd, Sterling Marlin in 3rd, Travis Pastrana, Juan Pablo Montoya. Highest finishing chatter in stage 2 is D. Kuzmic, followed by Austin in 7th, Cal Naughton Jr. 8th, Haley Deegan in 9th, and Caleb salvages a stage point in 10th position. 7 yellow flags along the way, only 2 for the stage breaks. 5 incident yellows. We will start stage 3 of the Firekeepers Casino 400 with a move on the pit lane. Rick Mast leads the field to green.
Green, green, green.
No, indeed. No debris cautions redeemed by chat. To be fair, this is a race where we kind of hadn't needed them. Dale Earnhardt Jr. made a move on Rick Mast before we even got into turn number 1. sure there is some terror in Austin. He's probably got a feeling that something bad is about to happen, and that is that his car is up front. Sitting third. The best result, if this were to hold, that car would have ever had in the Mazdas or anything. Now, we shouldn't say that. Back in our first ever Twitch chat Indianapolis 500, he actually did finish second to Squid, but in a race that didn't feature any points. I mean, I did forget about that too. A couple of second place finishes, but that car has made its way up the field all throughout. That was going to get close there with Austin and Rick Mast. I think they made it through. All right. Lap 128, 73 to go. And the 88 has just dominated this thing pretty much from the start of stage number 2. It really has. Now, I do fear for D. Kuzmic here. Last car that tried, to make it past the 88, wound up in the pits for 5.5 minutes, and that was Ricky Bobby, but to the lead for the moment, D. Kuzmic. We're getting shorted a little bit. That's bad timing. Hopefully it's a minor one. We'll give it a chance. We're gonna stay alive here regardless. Now that we know that it's not a accidentally connected to a VPN type deal. So we'll see how this happens. See if it decides to cool itself down. But we'll continue to just watch the race. And hope that it just stops itself, which I think, at least for the moment, it did. Good stuff. Hopefully that stays true the rest of the way. 1,000 drop frames is a whole hell of a lot better than like 30,000 or however many we dropped during the Coke 600. Your battle for the lead right now, D. Kuzmic, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Sterling Marlin, who's been up front much of this race, made a move around Austin for third place in the Silver Bullet. Let's head back into the field just a little bit. Nothing too chaotic here. What about back here? Not so much. Are there any real massive groups of cars? There they are. And that's your battle for the free pass right there. Pat in the blue and yellow number 3. Looking to make moves around the outside. Myself and the Lion scheme just trailing in behind. Pat gonna get stuck in behind Will Power, who I have no idea how Will Power didn't have similar issues to Evo, given that, I mean, in theory, he hit just as hard. Will Power was the one that hit Evo nose to nose. And I mean, if you get a good look at the number 12 here, I mean, you can see the damage. You can see the front of the car just caved in. Hasn't really been a factor much of the day, but still. Pat with a good bit of a gap for the moment right now. D. Kuzmic holding off Dale Earnhardt Jr. ever so slightly. Couldn't do it any longer. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is through to the lead again. And how about Evo with the 24? The worst accident, the worst crash of the day. And that 24 is still out there racing. Cars that are not include Rusty Wallace, who had some issues. Jeff is out. Rowdy Burns, Greg Biffle, and Tony Stewart out of this race. But we haven't had a retirement. I want to say since... No, it'd be since Rusty Wallace. Rusty Wallace, the first car of that group. Oh, Haley Deegan and Jordan real close there. The 43 just hasn't really had it much of the day. But able to battle back to get on the lead lap. The unfortunate part is still last on the lead lap. And I mean, has a whole bunch of lap cars in front. Natalie Decker, couple laps down. Will Power is actually... Is Will Power on the lead lap? Yes, he is. There's somebody racing the city Chevrolet. That's good. I was on Trading Paints earlier. I didn't see anything crazy new on that. That's good. I'm glad it's a well-liked, for the most part, scheme. There are people that don't like it so much on Reddit. Oh, Jesus, that got close. Oh, Cletus McFarland is stopped on the racetrack. Yellow flag comes out. What in the world happened to Cletus? He's just stopped. Middle of the turn. So here's Cletus McFarland in his NASCAR Chat Series debut. He got Smeed. Oh. Pounded the outside wall. And I mean, of course the thing stopped in the middle of the turn. It just can't go anymore. It's going to be a hard hit. For the number 30, Smeed just came up. I don't even think the 30 was out of shape at all. And Cletus with no choice but to just shut it down. Ouch. Well, here's we take the lap 138 restart. We will crank it up one final time here today at Michigan. Your battle for the lead, D. Kuzmic, Dale Earnhardt Jr. out of turn 4. It's been the battle for the lead since, well, our last yellow flag. D. Kuzmic has very rarely faltered in that, but in comes the 88. Back to the point at Michigan. Austin sits third, battling with Rick Mast for that third place. Now seem a little bit spread out as, you know, the field has kind of dwindled here just a little bit. Let's try it now, at least with the cars that are still running. So all the way back to Smee. Red Wings looks a little bit out of shape there. Not really sure what the case is there. Smee, 28th place. multiple laps down, 15 of them. In fact, Evo sits 27th, also 15 laps down. Then we go to Gundy. In the midst of a nasty little situation there, Sterling Marlin was way out of shape. Haven't said much about him since his incident. Oscar Piastri sitting 25th. Cletus McFarland is still in the pit lane, as you can tell, but the camera not locking on to anybody. Which means Ash has made a move up into 23rd. And given that we didn't know that car was going to improve from 30th place in the early going, 23rd ain't bad. This race has calmed down a considerable bit. Vidal Aside in the 45, sitting 22nd, multiple laps down. Ricky Bobby, an unfortunate situation for him, battling for the lead with Dale Earnhardt Jr. We never really went back and saw that, and probably never will, because I really don't recall what lap that happened on, even though it probably wouldn't be too hard to figure out. Ricky Bobby sits 21st. Natalie Decker in 20th place. She's 2 laps down, as is Red Wings just in front. Pat, I think, might be the only car out on track that is 1 lap down. All he needs is a yellow flag to really kind of get back into this thing. And no, that isn't the case. Squid, actually, just right in front of him, is also 1 lap down. So 1 more yellow flag could help either of those cars out tremendously. Jordo in the 43, the free pass, hasn't really done much with it. First car on the lead lap. Even behind me, who just did get the free pass, sitting in 15th place, which in terms of the chat cars is a pretty damn good points day. Caleb sitting in 14th place. One hell of a battle, got stage points at the end of stage 2. Sterling Marlin, one of the better cars really for the first half of this race, has kind of been, stuck back in traffic, and I mean, you can see why right here. It's just a madhouse. Haley Deegan, the Monster Energy Toyota on the outside of Evo's 24. Been up in front, in and out of the top 10 really all day. Sterling Marlin made a move around Deegan momentarily, those two side-by-side battling. Yo Gamer sits 11th, and he's looking to do it again. The same thing he did at the Coke 600. No points in the stages all day, but a chance for a pretty good finish. And really one of the few chances that a chat car has at a good finish race-wise. We're 4 wide in behind. Cal Naughton Jr. sitting in 10th for the moment. Been an up-and-down day. He's had his incidents, but nothing that really forced the car down the pit lane. There it is. Yo Gamer with the move around Naughton. Trying to salvage a good points finish. Be interesting to see how it all shakes out for Aiden. As we talked about it earlier, I think there's a chance that if Aiden continues to run well and Jeff continues to run bad, even though Jeff's run the full schedule, Aiden might accumulate more points. I mean, this is only his 2nd points-paying race, which is just absolutely crazy. Juan Pablo Montoya, very early player in the Coca-Cola 600, turning into a very late player here today at Michigan, still rocking the Juicy Fruit scheme. Lucas, he's had some contact with the outside wall, you can tell by the right front there, sitting in 7th. That's a great run for a car that hasn't really had a great run yet. And with all those chat cars buried a little bit deeper down in the field, real possible season-saving race here today for Lucas. Travis Pastrana sits 6th, and I can't believe it, but the car that mashed into the front end of Evo in our biggest accident of the day, with what looks like no repairs whatsoever, Will Power sits in 5th. And since we've been going through the field, D. Kuzmic, who was your leader at the time, has dropped back to 4th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is battling with Austin for 2nd. And your new leader of the Firekeepers Casino 400 is none other than Rick Mast. And let's go on board. So Rick Mast has not run the full NASCAR Chat Series schedule. And the reason for that is because this was a car that was up front in the Daytona 500 and, you know, was in contention there early. And really just about every race that it's ran, this Conseco 14, it's been up in contention. And so I thought people would get bored of seeing Rick Mast up front, even though there is no reason for Rick to be any better than any of the other real-life drivers. They all have the same skill. They all have the exact same attributes. But this Conseco car is inevitable. Up front much of the day, Rick Mast looking to do it again. And something interesting to say about this car, and this is going to sound so strange coming from me, if you know me at all. This is a green car, and this is one of my favorite paint schemes of all time, and I can't tell you why. I don't understand it. Maybe it's because Conseco kind of faded into a little bit of obscurity for a while, but I remember them, you know, being really big contributors to NASCAR broadcasts. They had a whole bunch of commercials in the early 2000s. They had just had like this weird couple year stretch where they were all over NASCAR. I mean, they were on the 14. They ran the ads. It was crazy. I don't know. It just reminds me of right when I first got in to the sport, if you will. I had a 164 of this car. There it is. I had a diecast of this car. I did too. I probably still do somewhere. Now, granted, me as a kid, I beat the hell out of my diecast, so it probably doesn't look very good. But Rick Mast with a 1.6 second lead. Now over Travis Pastrana. Trying to do it again. One of the only real-life drivers that have ever won twice. We're really one of the few real-life drivers that have ever won once in any Chat Series race that we have done. Pastrana, a winner last year, I believe at the Charlotte Roval in the Mazda MX-5 Cup, and won Homestead, our second race of the year, earlier this year. And, more importantly, been in every race, and I think I'm trying to kind of do that. If a real-life driver does win a race, I think we're locking them into the field for the rest of the year. So you get to see that ugly-ass 60 car for the rest of this season. Unless somebody wants to do me a tremendous favor, because it's not something I want to do myself, in putting Travis's Daytona 500 scheme on the current-gen Toyota. That would be outstanding. Austin kind of dropping for the moment. He's running that high side. Will Power back up into 5th place. So, look at the run that Yo Gamer is on. Pitted on lap 135 did the 56. And that's your points leader already. And in a bad day for chat cars. He's looking to... Oh, my goodness, that was close with Will Power. He's looking to put almost a stranglehold on the points lead. 56 into 6th. D. Kuzmic going to come back around. The best thing that the rest of the chat field, the points field, can see is that 56 have something happen, whether it be an incident, whether it be bad pit strategy. And speaking of pit strategy, we're not really nearing that. We're not super close to, potentially green flag pit stop, something we've seen very little of today. But we're starting to get to the point where you're starting to think about it, Let's take a look at the last pit lap. Your leader in Rick Mast last pitted on lap 122, so we're getting fairly close to where we think the window is. We haven't really seen the full window. That was under the stage 2 break. Same for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 2nd. third place, now second, Travis Pastrana was one of the ones that pitted under the one yellow flag here in stage number 3, among many others, and pitted on lap 135. We know everybody in the field has at least one more pit stop left to go. But how about Yo Gamer? Came in with a, I believe, 7-point lead, actually over myself, which is a big surprise for me. You know, the win in the Coke 600, I haven't really been a factor in too many stages, but those wins do a world of good for you, as long as you're consistent. Yo Gamer into 5th place. That 56 is on a ride to the front of the field. Check in on your leader, Rick Mast. He's all by himself. 1.8 seconds in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Sterling Marlin has entered the pit lane with some right front damage, but back to the pit lane, so no yellow flag. We've been consistent on that much of the day. If you can make it back, it's all on you, as one of the better cars all race long is going to go likely a couple laps down. Pat just made a pass on Sterling Marlin, actually. Lap 161. There are 40 laps to go here in this race in Michigan. And Rick continues to stretch that lead. Almost 2 seconds over Dale Earnhardt Jr. But if we can avoid trouble, I think those pit stops are nearing. 40 laps under green. Well, not quite all under green right now for Rick Mast, but very, very close. I had guessed in my head about 45 laps would be a fuel run. I would love to get an answer to that. Even though this is our only trip to Michigan, very few tracks on the NASCAR Chat Series schedule that we go to multiple times. Daytona and Talladega, I believe, are the only ones. Red Wings has also passed Sterling Marlin, so yes, multiple laps down. And so back to the Conseco scheme. You know, it's funny. Even though Rick did drive this car, for whatever reason in my head, I don't associate it with Rick. I associate it with Ron Hornaday, because he drove this car as well. But I don't think Ron drove it until, I think, 02. Or maybe midway through 01. I'm not really sure. Or maybe I'm completely mistaken. Not positive. On board with Rick Mast. I mean, this car is just absolutely trying to run away with this thing. Although Travis Pastrana, back in second place, has closed that gap a little bit with Dale Earnhardt Jr., the dominant car of the day, in tow. Can't count out either of these cars as of yet, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. is clear into second. Ricky Bobby and B. Dollarsign have passed Sterling Marlin. So the damage on the silver bullet, I'm thinking much worse than certainly what it looked like. I mean, there's cars out there running with damage that looks similar, but you just never know. Maybe the 40 has a little bit more steering damage than you might think. And this long green flag run, just absolutely brutal for Pat and Squid, who you felt like had a chance to get back into this race a bit. And all they needed was a yellow flag apiece. to at least give them a chance. And it just has not happened as Rick Mast has stretched that lead again with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Travis Pastrana really battling here. Back and forth they go. So we're well over 40 laps into the run for Rick Mast. Travis Pastrana does have the fuel advantage, the tire advantage, but I just can't see, what? 65 lap run to the end? I mean, Michigan is a track where fuel mileage can be a factor. I actually went to, I think it was 08. Maybe 09. Not entirely certain. Long time ago. The race that Mark Martin won on fuel mileage. Jimmy Johnson ran out of gas. So did Greg Biffle. And Mark Martin had enough to make it to the end. We're about to see something of that magnitude here today. Well, it appears my guesstimate on the fuel run was wrong. You know, come to think of it, if I really start to think about why I thought that was the case, I was thinking about Daytona and how the fuel run is about 35, 40 laps there. Oh, there it is. Well, I wasn't wrong by much. Rick Mast to the pit lane. From the lead, and he surrenders it to Travis Pastrana. And that is bad news, at least momentarily, for Dale Earnhardt Jr., because his end of the fuel run, I think, is coming this time around, because he is down around the apron of the racetrack. I presume Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to pit here. So Travis Pastrana could lead for a minute. And then, unbelievably, you have Will Power, Dale Jr., Lucas, Juan Pablo Montoya have entered the pit lane. So that puts your top four on that lap 135 strategy with 31 laps to go in this race. And Rick Mast is ever so slightly going to avoid, I think, being put a lap down. Pitting from the lead will do that. Let's take a look at some other cars that are likely to drop off here. D. Kuzmic in 5th, pitted on lap 122. He came in this time, as did Austin. Haley Deegan makes the move to the pit lane. The shuffle that we kind of felt like this race needed in a way. It almost looked for a second that Rick Mast is going to try and run away with this thing, and he still might. We can, I think, safely say that's his last pit stop. It's all about what he does now on those fresher tires, but, I mean, Travis Pastrana is staying close and maybe even gaining on the 14. Everybody else that's in contention for this race that pitted on lap 122 has already done so. So then you move into this lap 135 group. Let's take a look. The top 8. Top 8 pitted on lap 135, and then sitting in 9th is Rick Mast. Oh my goodness. Well, with this pit cycle, oh my, we are a yellow flag away from absolute chaos now. We could very well see, some wave arounds to avoid that. That would be the smart thing to do. We got 9 cars on the lead lap right now. Is a number 14 Conseco diecast really that expensive? I mean, I can't imagine there's that many of them. Maybe they aren't. Travis Pastrana will continue to lead. He's got about a 3-second lead over Will Power. We have to go and take a look at this car. Is in second place right now. I mean, I just can't imagine. Smee has entered the pit lane again. I think that was scheduled. That was a pretty quick stop. Yes, it was. All about fuel there. So we're going to be inside 20 laps to go when some of these other guys come down the pit lane. Rick Mast with a pass on Yo Gamer, who I think had actually gotten the jump a little bit on Rick Mast there with the pit stops. Even though Mast pitted first, Yo Gamer just somehow made it work. Piastri and $sign to the pit lane. Jordo, Red Wings as well. So that second strategy might be paying off here. Travis Pastrana will pit from the lead. And I think they could have stayed out longer. But maybe this is some smart strategy as we'll turn the lead over momentarily to Aiden. And only his second ever NASCAR Chat Series start. The number 5 leads for the moment. D. Kuzmic will unlap himself the old-fashioned way. And the 5 certainly looks like it's coming down pit lane this time. Whoop, didn't mean to switch that. And then we go back to Cal Naughton Jr., who pitted on lap 135. He does not look like he is going to come down the pit lane this time. So the 47 should inherit the lead with 25 laps to go. Nash up to 22nd place. My car there on the apron and cracked the top 10 during this pit cycle. Now no longer. 14th place, 1 lap down, waiting for this cycle to complete. And that is pretty much dependent on Cal Naughton Jr. Only a 9-second stop for Aiden, 8 seconds for Squid. They know just how little time to go there is in this race. And I think this lead's going to get turned over to Travis Pastrana. With 24 laps to go. I don't know. Has Cal Naughton timed this decently well? To the point that he might just be a factor here. He hasn't left the pit lane yet. So no. He actually just got to his pit stall, so that didn't work really at all. Well, we have officially had a green flag cycle all the way through on pit stops. Everybody's going to be good to go to the end, and there's your race for the lead. Pastrana with Rick Mast and Yo Gamer in tow. Oh, a disaster for the rest of the field, potentially. Ash has come down the pit lane. Let's go check on her. I see some right side damage. I don't know if that's new. It's an 8-second stop. I'm going to say no. Let's be honest, her day was already well screwed up with the early incident. But a pretty good rebound, at least for the moment, to 22nd place. 22 laps to go. Rick Mast is certainly within striking distance, 0.6 of a second back. As we hit the 21 to go mark. Yo Gamer 1.2 seconds back, just kind of same distance that maybe a little bit more off of Rick Mast than Rick Mast is from Pastrana. Man, The points flip that we thought we were going to see. The 56 had other plans. This car just has not been able to be denied yet this year. Stage dominance, including a stage win in the early stages of the year. And then we hit Charlotte, and then there were no stage points to be had, but a solid top 10 effort. And then now, looking to improve on that even greater. Inside the top 5 with 20 laps to go after an early incident in stage 3. We have been green flag ever since. We do have 19 laps to go, so that means the debris cautions for the first time this season have gone unused. And they will not be used as Rick Mast is closing in. 0.2 of a second off Pastrana. I guess we might as well make it official then that if one of the IRL drivers does win one of these races, you lock yourself in the field the rest of the way. So Rick Mast with that at stake. He's certainly close enough. Now there is what looks to be a little bit of lap traffic just in front. From here that looks like Sterling Marlin, and it is. For the lead, here comes Rick Mast. Oh my goodness. Nearly disastrous between the 14 and the 60. We'll bunch this field right back up. And nobody would have known what was going to happen from that point on. It's just, it has got to be terrifying for all of the cars that are towards the back, that had the early trouble, that had the bad pit strategy, that have just been stuck back in the field, to see this 56 up in the front. Already came in with a lead. And the fact that, Caleb's up here, sitting in 9th, great run, but it's still going to be a losing points day for everybody if that 56 can hold that position for 16 more laps. Now he's got some pressure from Will Power in the 12, a car that I don't have any idea how it's even still running, let alone in contention for a win here at Michigan. Sucks that its numbers look like they do, but I'm an idiot. What do you want me to say? For third, Will Power to the bottom, and he might just join this party at the front with 15 laps to go. You could say it's really taken some willpower to continue this run. Oh, that was close with the 56. Man, you get these cars side by side, 2 by 2, and just all in their lonesome, except for those two cars right side by side. That's the scary point. We've seen that happen so many times today, and especially when these cars are out of shape. Oh man, there's no reason for them to get that close. Pastrana back to the lead over Rick Mast. To become a 3-time Chat Series winner, twice here in the NASCAR Chat Series. Rick Mast has other plans. And I mean, for that lead group, seeing Power and YoGamer side by side like that has to be great. But Will Power is now officially through. In terms of the chatters, you got YoGamer 4th, Lucas 6th, then D Kuzmic, Caleb in 8th, looking for back-to-back good runs. Stage win in the Coke 600 and a decent finish. Aiden in 9th. Austin sitting 10th. Who I think is still out at the golf course, which is mightily unfortunate. Jordos is 13th. It took a while to kind of get out of the hole that was being a lap down. and then trying to make up positions after that. With the 43 doing so. I myself sit 15th. So even if we did have the condition on that my finishing position was dictating my next paint scheme, looks like I'd get to run with what I want. 15 cars on the lead lap. Pat, the first car, 1 lap down in 16th, just never got the break that he needed to really get back in this race. But I mean, to be honest, it really hasn't been a race that many cars have been able to get back into. 12 to go, down the back straightaway. Travis Pastrana leads over Rick Mast. Will Power 1.3 seconds back. Yo Gamer 2.6. And then still a factor, not much of one, almost 6 seconds back. Your dominant car today, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Still looking for a solid finish and a very solid paint scheme. Pastrana and Mast coming up on a bit more lap traffic. I think that's still Sterling Marlin. They never really caught him. It's just kind of been that same deal. Will the 40? There really should have been a factor in the finish of this race with how well it was running. Be a factor in deciding this still. Rick Mast, your leader, in our final onboard lap here today at Michigan. Coming to 9 to go. And it is still the same 2 cars. Will Power not closing that gap all that much. Sitting in 3rd place. Car that got tangled up in an incident in the Coca-Cola 600. Never really rebounded from that. Fresh look on this car. And a great debut for it, to say the least. But I think the best thing to do here inside of 10 to go is take a look at this battle for the lead all the way to the end. Will Power, oh my goodness, he just closed in about 0.4 of a second. He's only 9/10 of a second back all of a sudden. So I don't know what happened between these two. Oh, Pastrana, they got close again. This is certainly the spot to watch. Power 0.6 back. Dude, that 12 car might actually do this thing. Ash is pitted again. We'll pivot off the lead. Oh, Ash has crashed again. That's for sure. More damage, I think, on the front of that car. But Rick Mast trying to pull away as we take 7 laps to go. Has not been much separation between Rick Mast and Travis Pastrana in this most recent run. The good news for Ash is that she does have a couple of laps of a gap between the next position. So if the damage is not so bad, you only lose a couple laps, you might only lose 1 spot here. And there's only so much farther back she can go with how much time is left in this race. Pastrana is here again. 6 to go. Mast and Pastrana. These cars are going to crash. Is there any denying it at this point? They continue to flirt with it. Every time they get side by side. It's like these cars don't have it in themselves anymore. Mast. Gotten by Pastrana yet again. Back and forth we go. safe to say I don't think we're going to know who wins this race until probably the last lap. Mass going for the move again. Into turn 1. Pastrana way up high. Seen problems even from things like this. Side by side down the back. Pastrana with the better run. Kind of surprised Rick Mass didn't pull up in front there, or pull in behind of Pastrana. Maybe have a chance at a better run into turn 3. 5 to go at Michigan. For the moment, it's Pastrana. Will Power. Oh no! Dale Earnhardt Jr. has crashed on the back straightaway with 4 laps to go. Oh, throw a wrench into everything. All right, well, with 4 to go, we got payback on our hands. Oh, the storylines that this sim continues to tell. Ricky Bobby was taken out early on, relatively at the end of stage 2, actually, by Dale Earnhardt Jr. We didn't see it. And then Dale Jr. gets his payback. And then the onboard with Jr. up and into the wall. Damage isn't all that bad, but they definitely ruined top 10 run all for naught. Well, regardless of if we should or not, we are going back to green at Michigan. A rushed yellow flag. Travis Pastrana, your leader. Rick Mast is on the outside of the front row. And Travis Pastrana with a great jump. The outside lane does not get going. Move Will Power into second place. Which might be all Pastrana needs to see. Don't count out Lucas either. That's a car that could have some life left in it. Oh my goodness, Rick Mast drops all the way down to 10th. And here comes Will Power to the lead. One of the most damaged cars running will take the white flag at Michigan. Pastrana's going to have a chance to come back to the inside in turn 1. But has he made that move too soon? Power's going to get a great run down the back. And Pastrana really isn't all that clear. Here comes Will Power. Back to the lead. Side by side into 3 and 4. Could be the closest finish in NASCAR Chat Series history, potentially. Power with the edge. Will Power should have the run. Coming to the stripe. It is Will Power with a win. This series just never disappoints. How did this car win? Oh my goodness, and a shake-up in the top 10 for sure. Will Power is your winner at Michigan International Speedway over Travis Pastrana, Haley Deegan, Deke Kuzmic, your highest finishing chatter. Austin with a disappointing run for him of 5th. Yo Gamer finishes 6th. Still a great points day for him. He'll extend that point lead. Shorto somehow all of a sudden is 7th. No idea how. Caleb in 8th. Lucas in 9th. And Aiden is 2nd. I think second consecutive top 10 finish. I could be wrong on that, but another great run. He's 2 for 2 and pretty decent runs here in the NASCAR Chat Series. This race kind of had it all in terms of, I mean, it's just everything going on. I mean, I don't even know how many cars we had finished on the lead lap. I mean, fuck, I think 14. Just absolutely a wild day in terms of chaos on track. If you were a car that was lucky enough to get through this race without any damage, of which there were very, very few, Pastrana being one of them. And I mean, but Will Power. Will Power is the absolute story of this thing. I mean, all the way back in stage 2, Evo crashes in front of him. Evo comes up on Squid, turns himself honestly into the wall, and then back into traffic, and the 24 just gets clobbered by this 12. And then the 12. I don't understand how the damage was so minimal that he was able to... I don't even think he really pitted to fix much of the damage. He may have, but he never went a lap down. And that results in what I'm going to say is the closest finish in the history of the NASCAR Chat Series. We'll try and get the best look that we can at it between Travis Pastrana and Will Power. This should be a great look right here. And just an unbelievable way to end this race here at Michigan. And Haley Deegan was close in behind too. Not really much of a factor all day. But it looks like about a little less than a car length. Will Power is your winner. And Deegan in third. Not too far behind. Next race should be in Atlanta. Towards the end of the month of June. As we head in a little bit deeper into the NASCAR Chat Series.